one of my favorite things to do when I'm like kind of close to the end of work is to like put a game on. It's kind of why I built my man cave, to have like 3 TVs on the wall, and I just forgot how fucking shitty August can be sometimes. Don't get me wrong, I love baseball, but like it's the only thing on. And I think what makes August worse than July 9 times out of 10 is like in July you're kind of past like the NBA season's over, and you're kind of like, but golf still is kind of around if you're a golf fan, which I know you're not, but it doesn't matter. And yeah, you still have golf kind of around. But like baseball, you're kind of in baseball mode, and like those are when like the games really kind of start to matter. So you want to watch every game really closely to see how your team's gonna like kind of push to the playoffs. When August comes around, it's like football ramps up, and it feels like football is priority now, which it is. Like I had a fantasy football draft last night. That's all I'm thinking about. And I'm super excited for the football season. And you're on Twitter all day, you're reading like football stuff, you're texting your friends football shit all day. And then you get home and all you can watch is just like regular season baseball. It's just a bummer. Like the ghost time of year for sports when all you have is regular season baseball. And I just want football to start already so we can have something else to watch on weekdays. College football 2 weeks away.
You're telling me you don't want to watch Angels Tigers?
No. And today it's even worse, Julio, because we had a day game. So now I have absolutely nothing to watch tonight. It sucks.
So Whitney and I realized we aren't good at watching TV shows together. So we've started and just like our schedules are always just kind of all over the place, that we don't have many shows we watch together, or like we'll watch Bachelor every Monday night, and then like we watch Mandalorian and we watch WandaVision, but there's a lot of shows that people have been telling us about, or we've been telling each other about, like, hey, you need to watch this show, and we just haven't doing it. So Thursday night is now designated TV night.
That's a good idea. I should change one of my nights a week to that. So like I'm watching a new show one night a week.
Yeah, so we have a lineup set of like shows we want to watch. We'll kind of like rate which one we want to watch tonight. So we got like, I've heard a bunch of people talking about White Lotus. I'm stoked.
So you're gonna try to watch one show all the way through, or are you gonna like split it up? Like every week it's a depends. So a rotation of like 3 shows.
It depends, because it's like if it's like kind of a limited series, we'll start the show, and then if we want to just keep watching it, we just keep watching it whenever we want. Yeah. But every Thursday is like per minute we're going to watch a show. So something like, I've never seen Avatar: The Last Airbender, and she's always like told me about it, but I know it's hella long. So it's like the
movie's trash.
Oh, of course not. Never watch it. But yeah, but my 2 shows I'm so excited to eventually show her on that list: Ted Lasso, obviously, new episode tonight. Yeah, and Succession.
Whoa, she's never seen Succession.
No, the one I'm excited to watch with her, Umbrella Academy. I'm so excited to watch
Umbrella Academy. It didn't really catch my attention too much,
Well, that's because you went to the opposite of an umbrella. Academy? What is the opposite?
Rain?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, no.
Sunglasses
you
Academy.
Have an umbrella.
Sunglasses Academy. There you go. Whatever.
Frat Academy. Frat Academy.
Whatever.
You wear a lot of sunglasses when you're in a frat.
Yeah, there you go.
Thing. Yeah, welcome to Town Tailgate. That's Julio. I'm Chris. This is our podcast where we talk about Oakland A's baseball. We are members of the Around the Diamond podcast network. Check out their stuff at Around the Diamond on Twitter. We are at Town Tailgate on Twitter. Rough week this week, Julio. We're gonna get into that in the second half of the episode. But before we jump into the big 3, is there any news that we need to announce? I don't know why I just totally blanked on that. Julio, you and Jason did a green room today.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah. So shout out to our good buddy Jason Burke over at Locked On A's. He started. I'm heading out of town for the weekend. And I was packing some stuff up, getting things together, and they were on green room. I'm like, yeah, screw it, I'll join. So trying with him. I didn't catch his name, but there's an A's fan that he's friends with that was all the way from Australia talking to there. So that was awesome. We also had the host of Locked On Yankees, so it's really cool hearing that perspective. But yeah, Jason, if you're listening, man, loved it. I'll be jumping on when I can. But another special shout out to good friend of the show. I think he listens to almost every show since like the beginning. Eric Taylor, shout out to Anyok. Hooked me up with this awesome. Damn it, my hand positioning's off.
That's actually pretty good hand positioning right there.
Okay, there we go.
It's a cool pennant.
It's an old school A's pennant. It's the 1972-1973 World Champion swinging A's. So appreciate it. Good luck on that one. Follow us on Twitter and subscribe to where you get your pods. I think that's the only major news we have.
Yeah, and we're gonna try and we've been trying to do more green rooms and like maybe we'll try and like collaborate some YouTube lives or something like that for
as long as it's not the movie green room. Totally fine.
Yes.
We don't want to get in those green rooms.
No Matt Damon. Yeah. So we'll try and collaborate some more of those so you guys can listen to live pods and live reactions and stuff like that.
I think we're thinking of this different movie.
Oh, what's the one with Matt Damon, the Paul Greengrass movie that wasn't that great?
Oh, that's
Green Zone. Green
Room is with Patrick Stewart and then Ansel Elgort, R.I.P.
Yeah.
That movie's. Have you seen that movie?
Ansel Elgort did not die.
No, I'm thinking of
He's a star of the new West Side Story coming out.
Okay, I butcher the names then. Who is the actor who was in Star Trek? He was in Charlie Bartlett. He like passed away.
Oh, I know you're talking about, but it's not important. You can look it up and fill us in later. I will start with the big three. All right, start with the big three. Did you find it?
Anton Yelchin. Anyways, quick summary. They're a punk band. They're playing a show in Portland, but what they don't realize is the place that they're playing at is actually like a massive Nazi bar, and they get kidnapped in it, and it's fucking crazy. Highly recommend.
Oh,
Patrick Stewart's the main guy of the Nazi clan. Big three. Take it away, Chris.
All right. So the biggest story this week was Tyler Gilbert, rookie, made his debut start for the. Oh my God, totally blanking now.
There's no Diamondbacks. They're not a relevant team anymore.
The Diamondbacks. Touche. And he pitched a no-hitter. His dad also went viral because his dad was a lot like James Caprillian's dad, was losing his mind during it, rightfully so. His son threw a no-hitter for his debut. That was pretty cool to see. The Diamondbacks have had nothing to celebrate all season, and this was something for them to celebrate. I couldn't begin to tell you what his prospect rankings and stuff like that were. I had never really heard of him until I got the ESPN update about the no-hitter, but I thought that was pretty cool. Julio, your thoughts?
He was an unprotected. He got taken in the seventh round. Yeah, he got taken in the sixth round by the Phillies. He was traded to the Dodgers traded to the Dodgers February of last year. And then the Dodgers, he would left him unprotected for the Rule 5 pick. So the Diamondbacks went and picked him up. He is surprisingly, because, baseball is a 120-plus-year-old professional organization, at least Major League Baseball is. And he is the fourth player to ever do this. And he is the first since 1953 with Bobo Holloman. He joins the ranks with Bobo Holloman, Ted Rittenstein, and of course, one of our all-time favorite players, Bumpus Jones.
Those are such 1900s names right there.
I just want to hear Keenan Thompson say Bumpus Jones. But
those literally sound like names from characters in Boardwalk Empire. Like they're gangsters from like Philadelphia who like
watch out for Bumpus Jones, you say?
Yeah.
No major thoughts really with this. I think this is a really amazing accomplishment. The odds are we're not going to ever see this again in our lifetime. So glad that if you were able to catch
no one saw it in many lifetimes. Apparently, those names weren't they from 1900 and 1890 or something?
So our good friend of the show, Bobo Holloman, threw it in 1953. Point of reference, my dad was born in 1953.
Yeah.
And then before that, our guy Bumpus Jones in 1892. and then Ted Brittenstein in 1891. And also, we kind of stopped talking about no-hitters on this podcast because it was just getting redundant. But this is the 8th no-hitter of the season. It set the single season, or it's tied the MLB record with only 6 weeks left in the season. So, Chris, does it happen? Are we going to get the record? Is somebody else going to throw no-hitter the rest of the season?
No, I don't think we get it. I think that MLB changed the balls up after they saw all the no-hitters the first month, and they're like, whoa, it's looking a little fishy, so let's put some more juice back in there, whatever that
Devil's
is.
advocate, I think it's going to happen.
Okay.
The shittier teams got even worse because of the trade deadline.
That's a good point. Which they always
even
do.
Though,
and then this is where the playoff teams kind of start to like get their ground because they beat up on the shitty teams.
Yeah, even though the Padres were the ones who got no hit, but we'll talk about that in a moment.
They didn't have Tatis that game though. I mean, they're stacked. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah, they got the Crone Zone.
Yeah,
but hey, man, I know like 3 D-backs fans. Trevor Holloway, he got one of our good family friends, just graduated from I think ASU nursing school or some medical school. And then he got this. So shout out to him. Because really that's all he got as a D-backs fan this year.
All right, moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And then also Madison Bumgarner through a not technical, but technically.
You know what I was pretty amazed to find out the other day? Madison Bumgarner is only 32 years old. Doesn't he feel like he's been around forever?
Well, it's funny that you bring that up because when we were talking on the green room earlier today,
yeah,
the Locked On Yankees host was just talking about this notion that Brett Gardner is just this old dude in his team.
Mm-hmm.
Like Brett Gardner in base is not that old at all. He's just old in baseball years. But then when you put in perspective that he's been through like 4 different presidencies during his playing career, then that might age him up a little bit.
Wow, Brett Gardner, what are you talking about?
36.
37. He turned 37. He turns 38 on the 24th.
I think he's just out of a fielding position that like you don't see old dudes doing it that much anymore.
Yeah. They usually become DHs by this point, or they're pitchers.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So,
Chris, what we got next?
Yeah, next thing we want to talk about is the epic tank job that has happened from a handful of teams, less than a handful of teams, ever since the All-Star break. The Red Sox are probably the most publicized of this because they're on the East Coast and because they played the Yankees a lot. They have just dropped dramatically in the standings. They were in first place of the AL East, probably the best division in baseball. I would argue the best division, but others might differ. Actually, no, NL West is probably the best, but close second. Anyway, sorry. The Red Sox were in the first place in the AL East. Now they are out of the wild card right now. They're the first team out. They're only a half game behind us, but they are not quite in the playoff picture right now. They have ever since the All-Star break, they are 15-16, just below 500. The Padres have made an epic little plummet as well. They're 14-16 since the All-Star break. You could argue part of that is because of the injury to their best player, Fernando Tatis, as they've also had a few other injuries, including to their starting rotation. Yu Darvish got hurt, but they also which is why they signed Jake Arrieta recently. And then the Mets, which we are going to get into this a little bit more detail because their owner had something to say about it. But the Mets are 14-20. So the reason why they're 14-20 and not around like 14-16, 14-15 like the other teams is because they had a COVID outbreak just before the All-Star break. So they had to play a bunch of double headers in the month of July to make in beginning August to make up for that. So they played a few more games since the All-Star break. They are doing terribly. Their offense is just a joke. I don't know, Julio, where do you want to do? Should we just start with what Steve Cohen tweeted?
Yeah, it's just outrageous what he said. I'm pulling it up right now, but if you're not aware,
he sounded like a disgruntled fan.
Yeah, which
paint that picture first.
I think that's a big part of his thing. But a lot of talk's been going around. Well, first off, Steve Cohen, quick summary. He became the new owner of the Mets this year, and he's all in. He's a big Mets fan beforehand. He's made the big moves, the big splashes. You got Francisco Lindor. They were in the hunt for Trevor Bauer, which kind of looks great in retrospect. Anyways, very vocal, to say the least. He tweeted out on August 18th, "It's hard to understand how professional hitters can be this unproductive. The best teams have the most disciplined approach. The slugging and OPS numbers don't lie."
He's just upset that his offense is terrible, and he's bitching about it. And he's kind of throwing his players under the bus, which is kind of the most crazy thing about it. Like, I don't know. It's one thing to be upset in private about it, or to display that to your players, in the clubhouse, but to just go out there in public and do it. I don't know. It's different. I don't think there's anything too wrong with what he's doing. These guys get paid to be good baseball players. He spent a lot of money doing it. I think it's our job as fans to hold these people accountable, to make them good at their jobs. Like, if I'm bad at my job, I don't get to do it anymore, So I think there is a level of he does. I think there is some, for lack of a better word, it's fine that it's not fine, but there is some level of acceptance to what he's doing. But I don't know, you do own the team, so I don't know, you're just kind of airing out your dirty laundry to everybody.
It's very Steinbrenner, and for the lack of better words, and that's what a lot of people were saying on I was watching the Chris Rose show on John Boy, and him and Trevor Plouffe were talking about, and they were just like, dude, imagine if George Steinbrenner had Twitter in the 70s. You don't even know, the shit that he used to say about his team back then in the press, how many times he hired and fired Billy Martin, all this stuff. It was just the absolute shit show. So who knows? Maybe this thing is going to turn around. It doesn't look like it's going to turn around, though. The news came out that Jacob deGrom is more than likely going to be shut down for the rest of the season. The biggest problems with the Mets is still the same problem that they've had for the last 2-3 years, which is their rotation's been really well. Taijuan Walker has been killing it over there. Marcus Stroman has had a pretty solid year over there as well. It's just their offensive guys cannot be consistent. Pete Alonso's bat, he's got the big power, still going there. Excuse me. Dwight Smith Jr. had a really good year last year, and there was a lot of high expectations on him to kind of break out and kind of be one of the main guys on offense. Didn't happen. Michael Conforto has had a huge disappointing year. I know you're a big Jeff McNeil fan, and he hasn't been that hot. So what did they do to address all this OPS and slugging issues? They traded for Javi Baez, who is known for just being all or nothing offensive player, where it's he's either going to strike out 3 times in a game, or he's going to get you 3 home runs in a game. There's no other way. So that it's look, that's on you for making those moves at the end of the day. But it's also kind of funny that the Mets are just kind of spiraling. And we hear how much Yankee fans hate Met fans, and I understand why kind of now at this point.
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny. But the Padres is astonishing what's happening right now.
Can I just touch on the Mets real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
I just want to give some stats. So they're currently exactly 500. They're 1660. They're 4.5 games out of the NL East. And in first place is the Braves, who are on an upward trend. They've won 6 straight, 9 of the last 10. They have a plus 86 run differential. The Mets have a minus 24 run differential. And then let's see where they're at in the wild card real quick. In the wild card, they're less in the hunt in the wild card than they are in their division. They're 5.5 games out. Yeah. And Cincinnati's making a good run at San Diego right now for that second wild card spot. So yeah, if they're shutting down DeGrom, I think that's pretty much it. All right, Padres, moving on.
The Padres are combined. This is from Danny Vietti over at CBS Sports MLB. The Padres are combined 26 and 28 against the Rockies, D-backs, Pirates, Cubs, and Marlins this season. For perspective, all these teams are currently in last or second to last place in their respective divisions.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's not good.
So it's funny
and if you go talk to Dodger team going in this season. Yeah. Like everybody was like that's the team that got a bunch of like national TV games because they're like fun to watch and shit.
And it's funny if you just ask fans who are, I'm going to give a shout out to my boy Nick Million, one of my good friends. He's from Carlsbad, huge Dodgers fan. And he's like, dude, it's the same shit every time with the Padres. It's that people get so hyped up on their roster, and you kind of the expectations go over the head. Which really, on paper, this Padres team's awesome. It's just like Tatis was hurt. You brought it up. Yu Darvish has been hurt. And a lot of their starters are kind of are just whatever. They had to go pick up Jake Arrieta, who got shelled in Colorado. They were so close to getting Max Scherzer. That didn't work out. And I think the one thing all these teams have in common, and we'll talk about more with the Red Sox, is like these are the three teams that they really could have capitalized on really upgrading their rosters during the trade deadline. And they did in the wrong areas. Mm-hmm. And Padres, it's starting to look like, even with Tatis hurt, their offense is still pretty consistent with like Jake Cronenworth and Manny Machado's coming back up. Tommy Pham's been hitting pretty well lately. And they needed some pitching depth, and they couldn't pull anything off. So they had to go get Jake Arrieta.
I mean, there's no one left for them to get at that point once Darvish got hurt. I mean, you could argue that they should have made a better run at an arm at the deadline, but like, I don't know. They kind of looked okay at the deadline at that position. And also, like, you also don't want to give up too much to get another starter that like potentially you're on the hook for another couple of years, because you still have Mike Clevenger coming back next year. So like, that's a lot of money on the books. I don't know. I mean, it's biting them in the ass now, but. So there's still a game up on Cincinnati in the wild card spot. They are 9 games back from the Dodgers for hosting that wild card spot, that wild card game. And let's see how many games are back from the Giants. So I think they're 12 games back from the Giants. Yeah, they're 12 games back from the Giants. They don't have any shot at the division. Wow, Dodgers run differential is plus 204. They're going to beat the shit out of the Padres in that game. I don't know, man. I don't know what you do to solve this. You could make the argument. I'm sure a lot of people would make the argument. They got Tatis back. It's going to be a different ball game. Well, look at Mike Trout and what he does for the Angels.
Look at Ohtani. Look what Ohtani's doing this year. And they're still below 500 team.
Yeah.
But it's like, and you kind of go on that wild card point. It's like, the Dodgers are the last team right now in terms of the wild card picture. You will want a 1-game playoff because it's like, all right, we're throwing out either Max Scherzer or Walker Buehler. It's like, good luck. Who I think Walker Buehler should. I feel like he's not getting enough Cy Young love as he is. I know it's pretty cool now that like DeGrom's hurt. The Cy Young for NL is kind of like up in the air, but it's like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Hopefully the Padres can turn around because they're fun as hell. I think they will at some point now that Tatis is healthy and Blake Snell's kind of turning around. I think they'll start playing better. But let's just shit on the Red Sox for a minute.
Who do you pitch in that wild card game against the Dodgers or the Giants if the Dodgers catch up to the Giants?
I mean, if Yu Darvish is healthy, you have to. If not, it's maybe a spicy take, but I think it's got to be Blake Snell. He's pitched in those big games before. He's pitched a lot better over the last month, and I know he pitched pretty well against the A's. So, like, I think it's got to be one of those two guys. There's a reason why you traded for them, and it's for those big moments.
I think I would want to go with Snell because he's been there before. He's been to a World Series, so you have confidence that he's not going to be like, he's not going to be intimidated by the Dodgers like stacked lineup of Max Muncy, Cody Bellinger, even though he's having a bad year, he's still Cody Bellinger. Mookie Betts, even though he's having a bad year, he's still Mookie Betts. Will Smith, fucking Corey Seager, Justin Turner. Like, there's no relief there where a guy like Blake Snell, he's not going to give a shit about that. He's just going to go and he's just going to try and deal the best he can.
Let's not forget, Yu Darvish pitched in the World Series.
That's true, but Yu Darvish, if the playoffs were to start right now, Yu Darvish can't do that.
That's true.
I'm trying to live in in that kind of reality. All right.
Let's just shit on the Red Sox for a second. We don't want to go on too far for this subject. Completely tanking. We had Red Sox Twitter fans were trying to talk shit on the A's, and then now they're not even in the playoff picture anymore. Mm-hmm. They fucked up by not trying to pick up Anthony Rizzo. They said they got Kyle Schwarber, who came back to earth after I think a lot of us projected to be that. Yeah. Their rotations kind of falling to shits. Chris Sale had a really good game coming back, and good for him, but it was against Baltimore. Mm-hmm. And honestly, as much as hatred as I have for the Yankees, it's almost kind of poetic of just seeing the Red Sox just flail right now. It's pretty funny.
There was nothing about the Red Sox roster except for Devers and Bogarts that really blew me out of my mind, where I was like, yeah, that team's gonna they're gonna finish it off strong, first place in the NL East, or AL East. I don't know, man. I said this around the deadline, and I still believe it. They just those guys are good, but there's no fucking star power there, star power. Maybe you could argue the same thing with us, but I don't know. It's just, Red Sox fans were super cocky the first half of the year. It's funny how much they've come down to reality lately, especially that fucking douchebag Steve, who was talking shit about the A's, and Julio called him out on A's Twitter for,
a lot of A's fans were dunking on him. It was great.
I know. It was pretty great. And then Yankees fans chimed in. Thanks to Robbie Schlatter. Thank you, Robbie, at the 4 Train Savages. It's just an epic meltdown. They're pretty much out of it. I can't see them catching up to us, or if we manage to leap over the, which is very possible, because we were above them a couple days ago. The Yankees, I think it's done. I don't think that's much of a competition in my.
MLB is salivating at the chance of having a Red Sox Yankees wild card game, though.
How many more? I'm gonna look this up right now. Maybe you could stall. How many more games the Yankees and Red Sox have against each other? Because if the Yankees, or if the Red Sox can dominate that series amongst each other, then they do have a shot.
I have a random stall thing. Why? Go ahead and look that up. Cool. I was looking at Yu Darvish's stuff still. I pulled up his Wikipedia page. Did you know his dad is Iranian?
That's cool.
Farsad Darvishafat. So Yu Darvish's full name is Farid Yu Darvishafat. Japanese. Wow. Damn. Did not know that.
Okay. That's tight. So the Red Sox are fucked. They play the Yankees only one more time. The last week of the season. That's the only way you're going to be able to really trump. I mean, maybe you can make a comeback, but those series are more important because you move an entire game ahead of them in the standings as opposed to half a game.
Yeah. Either way, I think, okay, before we end this topic, who do you feel most optimistic about turning things around? I think we're on the same page. Yeah, we're both on the same page as the Padres. It's just, I think they had pretty gnarly injuries to their 2 best players.
And look, you get some timely hitting in a few games and you're back to normal, and you got the winning's contagious type of situation. Yeah, I don't think the Red Sox have a shot. I don't think the Mets definitely don't have a shot. It's the Padres. And the Padres are kind of the best suited in the standings for it as well. They're 3 games up on the Reds. And the Reds were a hot team, this past month, but I don't know if that's long term. And the Red Sox are outside looking in. The Mets are outside looking in.
Reds look really good right now, though. I'm telling you, Joey
Votto they're not outside, but the Padres are not outside looking in. They're inside protecting their lead. It's a different mindset. But you're right. They have been. The Reds have been looking very good actually lately.
Castellanos healthy again. Joey Votto's been raking. Joey India is looking like the rookie of the year. So it's going to be really exciting to watch that chase. Last but not least, Field of Dreams game was the biggest regular season drawing ratings wise since 2005. Now there's speculation already that we have, or they're going to do it again next year, supposedly.
They've already announced they're going to do it.
Is it official? I know it hasn't. I don't know if MLB has actually said it yet, but the rumors are MLB announced they will be doing it, but they haven't announced who it was yet. And the speculation is going to be Reds Cubs because, of course. It's great that people are watching it. I think that's fantastic.
Did you enjoy it, Julio?
No, I think it was cool. It was cheesy. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think it was cool. I think it was pretty badass just watching the balls getting lost in the cornfields.
Why did they have Kevin Costner walk around the field aimlessly for 5 minutes? I get the slow buildup and drama, so then just have him walk super slow to like shallow center field. Don't have him walk aimlessly around the field. He doesn't do that in the movie. That was really weird.
I think he gave like the whole. I will say the little speech when he gives a little speech and the players come out of the grass. That was really cool. But I'm gonna kind of
when the players came out of the grass, that was fucking dope.
That was tight. That was like, all right, I get it. Like that's. I will say though, I did listen to the Molly Knight interview on Levitar the other day, and they asked her about it, and her and Jessica Smaltana kind of had the same point, which was like, they're gonna burn this thing down. Like what was going to be like this kind of unique thing and really special, MLB is gonna ruin it. And like I have a feeling that's what's gonna happen over the next 5 years if you're just gonna keep doing it year after year, and you're just gonna keep. All right, this year we're having the Brewers and Royals. It's like I don't care. Like by that point, it's like you're kind of losing your audience. But also at the same time, I don't think
there's anything wrong with doing it one game a year. I think if they are to do the whole celebration and do this like overdone opening every single time, then yeah, you're gonna outdo it. But like, why not? Like that sounds like if I'm a player, that sounds like a dream come true to be able to play in this game on this field. So like, why wouldn't you just at least have a game there every single year? You don't have to do all of the like theatricals. Just do a game there. Like we saw the theatricals for the first time. That was fucking sick. Now just like, let's just have a game there every year. Just like we have a game in London for the NFL every year.
Check this out. For comparison, Field of Dreams outdrew all but one regular season game last NBA regular season game, Mavs Lakers on Christmas, and all but two playoff games prior to the NBA Finals. Bucks Nets Game 7, tight game, and then Hawks Sixers Game 7. But they were still outdrew by the fucking Hall of Fame game. Who was watching that? Who was watching?
NFL fans are crazy.
God. Anyways,
especially
I think also
hold on. The Cowboys were in the Hall of Fame game. That's why.
And Steelers. They're stupid ass towels.
Two of the biggest fan bases in the NFL.
Makes sense. But look, they might see this as a win, but I think if you think about a lot of how they measure ratings nowadays, they don't go by streaming. They still go by traditional cable metrics. And of course, it was going to win because this was something that was geared more towards older audience. No, not like. I'm not saying like people in their 60s and 70s, but I'm sure like people in their 50s and 40s and stuff like that, or people who grew up watching it with their family, that was geared more towards them. So of course that was going to be a big viewing mark of it. But I hope it just leads to more creativity of what they're going to be doing with this. I know I suggested like a Sandlot game. That'll probably never happen. But like,
cool.
Or I remember when they had like the first game in Puerto Rico a few years back, and like President Obama attended. Like that was awesome.
Yeah.
I just be a little more innovative with this stuff. Don't be afraid to kind of break the barriers. That makes these things kind of fun. Just don't keep doing the same shit over and over again, because the fun and joy and the kind of romanticism of it all is going to get lost.
But Julio, you made a good point the other day. I think it was on our group chat that it shouldn't be like. I think one thing why the ratings did so well is that it was a national TV game during the weekday. Like that's something that they don't take advantage of. Like ESPN has 2 games during the weekday, Monday and Tuesday.
I think it brought up last week on the show.
Oh, you did? Yeah. They should.
Yeah, just like they need to do more primetime games.
Yeah, and they should get more teams involved I mean, I just don't see why not. You're in the middle of summer. There's no like insane programming you have like for like your like, you know, NCIS, like your like staple show for a network. I don't know. It's weird.
Look, your biggest competition right now is Bachelor in Paradise, which is also absolute fire start to the season.
Yes.
Great start. Very excited. But like, yeah, just work around that schedule. That's all I got to ask for.
All right. So we're going to take a quick break now. Weird, different format this week because our A's News ties into our main segment. So we're going to do all that in one big segment. So stick around, which you guys can always probably already guess what it is. But stick around and we'll be right back.